Excitement knows no borders as this weekend, Toronto, Ontario is the backdrop for Speed Energy's Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas. Last season, the Honda Indy Toronto hosted Stadium Super Trucks for the first time, and the organizers couldn't wait to see jump ramps put back in place. Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas is next. Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas heads north for rounds 10 and 11 of the 2014 season. Hello everyone and welcome to Toronto. I'm Brian Till along with former IndyCar driver Robbie Buell. And if you like your motorsports with plenty of excitement, you're about to get it. Take 650 horsepower off-road trucks, place them on concrete and asphalt, throw in purpose-built metal jumps, and this weekend a little bit of rain, and just keeping the trucks between the unforgiving concrete walls will be a challenge, Robbie.
It sure does, and you're right, it's quite a show. That's a great passing zone into turn 1, down Lakeshore Boulevard, turn 3, lots of actions down there, 4, 5, 6. We're 1.7 miles around this circuit, a total of 11 turns, and these guys can focus solely on the road course till they come out of turn 9, and that's when the ramps are going to start hitting. Right there, we're going to have jump 1, jump 2. They come onto the front straightaway. They're going to have jump again, and that's right at the start-finish. And there we take a good look at one of these ramps, about 36 inches, launching these guys 20 feet or so in the air.
Daunting in the dry, but in the wet, they are very slick. Here's Jake Query.
If it's got wheels and it's racing in Toronto, you knew Paul Tracy would have to get involved, the thrill from West Hill. All right, another year back here. Robbie talked you into it, huh?
Yeah, he called me yesterday, and he's like, hey, you want to come play? And it was like 10 minutes before the practice session. So I said, well, let me check with the producers of NBC because I'm on air like 10 minutes after the race is over. So I've got to like hustle around and get up to the booth. But man, it's been a chaotic day so far. I gave the mayor from Toronto a ride around the track 15 minutes ago, and now I'm in this. It's raining. I got to be in the booth 10 minutes after the race. So definitely got my work cut out for me.
Now let's be honest. Giving Rob Ford a thrill on anything is a challenge, but yet pretty cool, right?
No, it was pretty cool. He's actually a pretty funny guy. So, you know, the guy's tongue-in-cheek. He knows he messed up, and he's trying to do the right thing here in Toronto. And he said, you know, there's a little bit of a cloud over this race of whether it's going to happen next year. And he said, look, this race is going to happen. And I know the value of the people and the value of a dollar, and this is a great event for tourism.
Lastly, speaking of clouds, we got a little bit of rain. I saw Davey Hamilton giving you tips in case that track gets wet, right?
Yeah, I mean, Robbie says, oh, you'll be fine. And Davey said, hey, be careful of those ramps when they're wet. They're slick. So I'm just going to take it easy.
All right, best of luck and have fun.
Thank you.
All right, be fun to watch Paul Tracy. These fans are lined up to see the Ontario legend race here in Robbie Gordon's trucks.
It's certainly going to be exciting, especially with Paul Tracy involved. Here's how they'll line up for race number 1. Aaron Bombach, Detroit native, on the pole. Outside, Paul Tracy, hometown hero.
Then from there, Scotty Steele, 16 years old, had a podium at Detroit alongside Adali Lopez, our winner at Austin X Games and at Indy.
And row 3, Robbie Gordon, the 2013 champion, alongside Bill Hines, founder and director of United Fiber and Data.
And then Sheldon Creed. You know, he knows never to give up. 16 years old, he won here a year ago. He is starting at the back after missing the driver's meeting. They said, you're going to that back, Mr. Creed.
Yeah, that's a no-no. You see our Toyo onboard cameras, and there's a look at Scotty Steele, another 16-year-old in the field. It's funny you take Scotty Steele, put him together with Sheldon Creed, and they don't even add up to some of these drivers' total ages, and I said that at just the right time as we saw Paul Tracy. Now, it is damp. It is going to be slick, and you heard him talk about the metal ramps. They are incredibly slick. DOT Toyo tires on these super trucks. 10 seconds to the green.
And it was Davey Hamilton that chimed in there to Paul Tracy. If you remember, Davey got a little sideways on one of these ramps. There's the green. Off
Here we go. No traction control, no anti-lock brakes. That means you have to drive these trucks 650 horsepower trying to get the power to the ground, and it is going to be slick in turn 1.
And 3 gears. They got 3 gears. And there's Tracy trying to roll the high side on Baumbach.
Aaron Baumbach, the black truck. To the right of your screen, Paul Tracy in the black Traxxas truck out in front. And Tracy leads onto the back straightaway. The drivers right now just trying to get a feel for this racetrack.
And you're right. And there's moisture down there. Right now, it doesn't really look like the racing surface is real slick, but there's enough water out there where it just brings up the oil out there that does make it really, really slick. You can just see the trucks moving around as they're under braking.
And Scotty Steele gets past Aaron Baumbach to take over second, and then a crash down and
Tracy,
Baumbach,
Hines, they're all in there in turn 3.
And I think Aaron Baumbach thought he could get underneath him, but he got to that damp concrete in the front end of his 3-dimensional.
Well, that's it. Watch when you hit the concrete right through the center portion of the corner.
Oh, it's slick, and there you go. Tracy now off in the next corner. That concrete patch incredibly slick.
And look at all the other trucks just avoiding him sliding through that. He's lucky that nobody kind of barreled in behind him.
Talking about Aaron Baumbach trying to get the drive underneath Scotty Steele and Paul Tracy when they go off. He checks up and says, hey, I'm just going to drop underneath them. And then he, too, becomes victim. His MagnaFlow 3-dimensional products truck stuck in the fence. And now the next corner down, Scotty Steele, Paul Tracy rubbing all the way to the next corner.
Okay,
and then Tracy can't get it turned.
But so watch Tracy. So as soon as he gets to the concrete patch in here he is. He's right on Steele. Watch his wheel. He turns the wheel more to the left and keeps going straight. So it just is ultra slick when they transfer from the asphalt to the concrete.
Scotty Steele takes over the point. Sheldon Creed right behind him. Youth up front right now. Over experience here in Toronto, and now Steele with a problem.
But continues on. I mean, that's, a little bit of bump in the tires. He's just gassing up and going forward. I mean, a great testament to these Super Stadium trucks.
And it is so slick over the metal ramp. You think the concrete is slick. You've got to be careful with the throttle application on the metal ramp. You don't want to be squeezing down that throttle. When you hit that metal, you'll get wheel spin. And you can really damage the transmission when you land as well. So right now, Scotty Steele leading over Sheldon Creed. Creed now to the inside into 1.
And you're right. When these guys do approach the ramps, they can control how their car launches out there with what they're doing with the throttle, how they set up, how they get off the throttle and come back on it so they're under power.
Sheldon Creed underneath Scotty Steele takes the lead onto the back straightaway. Steele fighting back in his red truck to the inside.
But you can see how tough it is to put the power down as they're coming through turn 2. This is leading on to Lakeshore Boulevard. Really important of how the tires hook up, those tires hook up, and they get down this as we're under braking. We saw Scotty Steele drop a gear right there, looked over in his mirror. He knows Creed's on the outside.
There's that slick concrete patch, and indeed, Scotty Steele slides wide. Sheldon Creed can't do anything with it. Steele, so much improved over last year, did not have podium finishes last year, already has 3 this season. So he's learning his way around these stadium super trucks, and right now leading here at Toronto.
And he's obviously, Scotty Steele's gotten very comfortable running on these tight street circuits with the podium place that he had in Detroit. He's really, really honing his craft. Again, 16 years old.
Scotty Steele leading over Sheldon Creed. Plenty of more excitement in the wet from Toronto coming your way. Speed Energy Formula Off-Road is brought to you by Traxxas, the fastest name in radio control. And by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Back in Toronto, it is damp working lap 2, and 16-year-old Scotty Steele in front of Sheldon Creed. Neither one of these drivers have a win so far on the season. This is where Sheldon Creed won his first ever Stadium Super Truck event last year, so he wants to get back on the podium, and Scotty Steele wants to break through and get his first victory today.
It does. I remember a year ago, I was watching these guys race right next to those ramps along start-finish right there, and I remember watching Sheldon Creed. Look at the air. What a great shot. But I remember watching Sheldon Creed, one guy that absolutely stood out when he hit those ramps because he just launched a mile, it looked like. I was like, wow.
Well, that really was his forte last year. Over the jumps, he made so much time on his competitors. Right now, making time on Scotty Steele, beginning to pull away. And now Abdali Lopez gets a little taste of what it's like to race with Paul Tracy. Tracy in that dark gray Traxxas truck just into the side of Lopez into turn 1. Battle for third. Robbie Gordon was in there as well as he slides up the inside of Abdali Lopez in his Orange Speed Energy Stadium Super Truck onto the back straightaway. Tracy leading Gordon.
And as they go through, they can just see them all getting sideways, trying to put the power down, getting down Lakeshore Boulevard.
Now, Abdali Lopez tried to get alongside Robbie Gordon. You're right on board them right now. And Paul Tracy way wide to driver's left, but I think maybe what he was doing, Robbie, is avoiding that slick concrete patch.
Or he just got in too hot and was a little bit higher there. You could see where the turn is. But I think that's what some of these guys are going to do is run either the left side or the right side a little bit higher through the turns so that one side is outside the concrete right there, for example. Just how Creed ran the left side outside of that concrete.
And what you saw was he gains probably 2 or 3 car lengths over Scotty Steele. So Sheldon Creed looking for the grip, and that shows his experience in these trucks.
And when you have this little bit of rain on the circuit, no matter what these guys are going to do to the truck, they're going to slide all over the place. They can make adjustments to the car, shock, springs, tire pressures. But really, when it's this slick, yeah, maybe you can soften the car up to get a little bit of bite and grip from it. But other than that, you just have to be precise with your driving as much as anything.
Short wheelbase, narrow track. They're difficult to drive in the dry. But in the wet, you've got to have an egg underneath that throttle foot with 650 horsepower. And right now, Youth really putting on a show here in Toronto. Battle for third. Robbie Gordon in the bright orange truck and Aaron Bombach in the black three-dimensional products MagnaFlow truck trying to hold off Gordon.
And Robbie absolutely stayed wide there, slowed it down earlier to try and get a better shot across that versus carrying speed through the concrete patches.
Halfway mark of the 8-lap event here, and that brings out a competition caution. That will also bring the field back together, and it's one of the things you need to think about strategy-wise is Robbie Gordon right there with Aaron Bombach. They're going to race to that line, and when they restart, Robbie Gordon is going to be in front of Aaron Bombach, and that's what I was saying. You've got to strategize. Even if the leaders get away at the halfway mark, you know it's going to come back to you. Sheldon Creed, Scotty Steele, which one of these youngsters will take the victory here in Toronto? Sheldon Creed looking for a repeat victory. Back in Toronto for Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas. And even with the rain, the crowd has turned out and they have not left the grandstand. They want to watch these stadium super trucks. And we are about to go back to green after the competition caution. Starter waiting, looking at the field over the jump, and the green flag waves. And if you're a little further back, you got to be careful applying that throttle over that jump when the green comes out. We talked about it before.
Think of those aluminum ramps. Gordon looking down the inside of Steele. Nope, not going to happen. Look at Sheldon Creed just sideways as he's sliding across the concrete.
Many times on a racetrack when it rains, where you want to drive in the rain is completely opposite of where you want to drive in the dry, and that's what we're seeing. Trying to stay off those patches. Robbie Gordon now looking inside of Scotty Steele down the back straightaway. Heavy braking at the end. Can he make the move?
And you can see where it's starting to drive up in sections, but as soon as you get offline where Robbie is or on the outside, Tracy. A little bit of lockup as he goes in there, keep it off the walls, and he has.
That is absolutely amazing. That shows you just how slick it is. It looked like he was sliding on ice all the way down the straightaway.
What I was trying to say is it's starting to dry in some sections, but it's still wet. As soon as you get offline or you're kind of diving inside or out somebody, you're going to pick up some white segments. So on board, as we're coming down to 3, look at him cross up. He got a little bit of rear lockup. He's catching it. There he's got the grabs the brake. That right hand right there is grabbing the brake to spin him around. Didn't hit anything. No harm, no foul.
Sheldon Creed still leading over Scotty Steele, then Robbie Gordon. That is the top 3. Just a couple of laps left here in Toronto. Will Sheldon Creed repeat, or will Scotty Steele get his first victory? What about Robbie Gordon? He's looking for another win.
And Sheldon Creed, what he needs to do right now is just concentrate on his driving. Not get caught up too much in the mirrors looking back here at Steele or Robbie Gordon. He knows Robbie Gordon's going to be gunning for him, but he just needs to be precise, hit his marks, not overdrive the car, not get too anxious. Just breathe a little bit and focus on not getting in too deep and squeezing back to that throttle in these slick conditions.
Gordon wiping the visor of his helmet. No windshield in these trucks, so the dirt, the debris, the moisture gets on that visor, makes it hard to see. Gordon inside Steele.
Steele
with some lockup.
fighting it, absolutely fighting it.
But he's going to have actually a better line around the outside, gets to the grip sooner than Gordon does, and holds on to second place.
Did you see how slow all those guys had to stop right there in turn 3 to get across that concrete patch? I mean, they really have to park it, turn the car, square it up, and go.
I'm surprised no one's doing it there in turn 5, the left-hander. They're running on the concrete there. Sheldon Creed staying off the concrete to some extent in turn 3 at the end of the straightaway, but you'd think he would apply that same strategy to some of the other corners. Creed leading.
And when you have a damp racetrack like this on a street circuit, you just have to be absolutely creative and try lines that you never thought would work, looking for that grip. Explore it. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but don't just lock into one strategy. Search for stuff.
Well, and with the rain no longer coming down, every lap around this racetrack, the track itself is different. The behavior is going to change, should be coming to the white flag. Sheldon Creed looking for the first victory in 2014. He had wins last year, 2 wins, one here at Toronto, one at Costa Mesa. There's the white flag, but he is winless so far this year. And I think a lot of it is due in part, Robbie, that he has been incredibly aggressive this year. He's damaged his truck several times.
But remember Long Beach, with 1 lap to go, he was leading and just come out of the back straight, kind of tossed away. So that's absolutely in his mind. But again, let's remember, both these guys, first and second, we're looking up there out of Robbie Gordon. This guy's 16 years old. So just think how they just, with every lap of the learning curve these guys are on.
So impressive. Gordon now looks around the outside. He'll be on the outside when they get to the end of the straightaway. Can he hold it? Scotty Steele
says no, he's not giving it up. He's not opening the door for him.
Not about to open the door. He says, I don't care who you are. I'm going to hold this inside position. Can he hold the corner, though?
But Robbie should have a good shot off there.
Slides wide. There is grip out there for Steele, and he puts the power down. He holds the position for now anyway, and this is allowing Sheldon Creed to slip away.
Whoa, sliding big time in there.
Oh, no!
Okay, get in reverse.
Scotty Steele running second, loses the position, but does he hold on to a top 3 spot? The truck looks okay, and that is the strength of these Stadium Super Trucks.
No, fantastic. I mean, you had a little bit of tire wear that kind of bounced him back out, but he grabbed reverse, got going. Nobody else got around him. A little breathing room for Robbie, but also for that guy right there that's going to take the checkered flag if he just gets through these last couple quarters, Sheldon Creed. He's looking back there, says, oh, Robbie's back there now.
Yeah, you can never count him out. But Sheldon Creed, just a couple more jumps, and he will find his first victory of 2014. This is where he won his first event. Can he win again today? One more jump. The checkered flag will wave. Sheldon Creed wins in Toronto. Impressive stuff. Scotty Steele is going to hold on for third. These Stadium Super Trucks, just like their Traxxas brethren, a little bit smaller than the radio-controlled cars, or the radio-controlled cars are, I should say, but they are tough. Sheldon Creed claims the victory in Toronto. We'll be back. Sheldon Creed takes his first victory of the season here in Toronto. Let's hear from our winner.
Race number 1 for the Speed Energy Formula Off-Road Trucks presented by Traxxas goes here to Sheldon Creed. And Sheldon, I'll tell you what, we knew it was going to be a little bit hairy here in Toronto with the rain, but that truck, you were able to keep everybody at bay. Take me through the run.
Yeah, that start I was dead last, and I was just kind of like watching everybody what the trucks were doing, and I didn't think it was going to be that slick just because it was sprinkling, and there's a lot of concrete in the middle of the track, so you go in the corners and it'd be asphalt and it'd switch to concrete, and then you would just start sliding. So definitely had to be careful in those concrete corners, and ended up getting to the lead pretty quick. I had a good battle with Scotty, and he was actually really quick on the concrete, so it was a good battle, and pumped to be on top.
Were you watching that battle behind you? Because it was a pretty good one, and all of a sudden Robbie catches him, he gets loose, and then of course you're able to run away. Yeah,
he pretty much did the same thing I did in Long Beach. Robbie pressured me, and I just pretty much threw it away, and I think Scotty just threw it in there and caught the concrete, and it just threw him into the tires. Same thing that happened to me, but it's a lot when you got Robbie behind you. It's a lot of pressure, so now I'm just pumped to be back on top, first one of the season, and hope to keep him coming.
Weekend's only half over. Good luck going 2 for 2.
Thank you.
Can't even say how impressed I am with that young man and Scotty Steele as well. So the first victory of the season for Sheldon Creed. Robbie Gordon helping out his title chances, but I'm impressed with Bill Hines back in 7th. He is the director of United Fiber and Data. He's not a racer. He's James Hinchcliffe's IndyCar sponsor. He got thrown in the deep end here. Let's head back down to Jake.
Okay, so somehow I managed to crash the podium here, and it wasn't easy getting between these two guys because it was tight between you for the entire run there. And then look, you got the youngster here, Robbie, and you managed to get him loose there to get by and take that second position. Take me through that run.
Well, basically, the first half of the race, I raced with Paul Tracy a lot. I'd clear him, and then I'd just see him dive on me coming. I'm like, oh, is he going to get it slowed down, or is he going to wreck me? And, you know, we had a good run for the first half, but by the time the halfway caution came out, these two guys were gone. I mean, they were out of sight around the corner. So, you know, for me, I just needed him to bunch him back up, allowed the three of us to race pretty good together. I passed Scotty a couple times, and he'd pass me back, so it was a good battle. Okay, now I know if you're playing with these remote-controlled trucks back in the backyard, right? Things get slick, they love that. What about your trucks here? Do you have to free them up a little bit when you expect it to be a little wet? I left my truck alone. I think Sheldon left his truck alone, and Scotty was smart enough to soften up his rear bar. That's one of the things the drivers get to do in this series is play the anti-roll bars, play with the ride heights, the shocks and springs just a little bit. So he was smart enough to soften his up before the rain, and he was probably the best on the concrete. He just drove it in a little too deep into turn 3. That's what I was going to ask you about, Scotty. Let's talk about that. Here you were holding on to second. Obviously, you preserved the podium, but take me through that when you got a little bit loose there.
I knew as soon as I got sideways, I was just a little bit sideways. I was like, oh, I'm going to the wall. I did my best to save it, backed up really quick and kept going, was able to finish third.
All right, now we're going to do this one more time, right? And this is only halfway through the weekend. Yeah, basically, you know, our road course races like this or street races like this, when we have double headers, we do it motocross style. So I told Sheldon he gets to hold that trophy just for a little while. All right, so Sheldon will hold on to it, and we'll try to see what happens here in race number 2 as these fans get set. We're only halfway done, guys. What do you think? Another one? We'll go one more here in the streets of Toronto.
Well, if the second one's like the first one, I think the fans will be on their feet.
No question.
Good stuff. Rain in the area, but we've got another race to go from Toronto. It'll be different conditions. Will the results be the same? Will the youngsters be up front? We'll find out when we come back. Back in Toronto, Ontario for Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas. Brian Till along with Robbie Buell and Jake Query down in the pits. And round 2 here is going to be very different than round 1. Track is dry. What do you do to your truck, Robbie?
Well, it's totally different. We heard from Robbie Gordon saying that he didn't really do anything to his truck. It was all in the driving. But what it's going to allow these guys to do, they can challenge the ramps. They can challenge the corners. They can challenge getting back to the throttle. They're not on eggshells out there. So they're going to be that much more aggressive with racing.
Saw Paul Tracy getting ready. Take a look at the grid, the way they'll start. Basically an inversion of yesterday's race. Bill Hines alongside Paul Tracy on row 1.
Row 2, Lopez, who finished 5th alongside Aaron Bombeck.
Scotty Steele alongside Robbie Gordon. You see that orange number 7, the number plate, means he's the championship leader.
And then we got Sheldon Creed, winner from earlier, alongside Nick Vanis, who there we're taking a good look at him. He got late getting into town, so he missed the first race, but he's with us now.
Toyo Tires onboard cameras. Sheldon Creed there. Creed, can he make it 2 in a row here? He won round number 1. Can he win number 2? Robbie Gordon. Gordon wants to have a say in this. He's got 3 victories on the season. He wants another one.
Scotty Steele really showed that his driving talent on these road courses is coming along. Look for him. Aaron Bombeck. Aaron's not only a good road racer, he raced RC car trucks and cars growing up.
Very cerebral. He's a thinker. Paul Tracy, you know, he'll be going for it. He's gotten a little more experience, more than he had last year, so he's ready to go. And Aaron Bombeck says, hey, I need to be more aggressive. I know I do. My wife told me I need to be more aggressive.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know. So he's going to be pushing harder, and they're going to be pushing from the drop of the green. Here we go in Toronto, round 2.
So Tracy's outside here on the normal racing line.
See Hines on the inside in the number 57. Tracy with a big jump now. Abdali Lopez kind of jammed up just a little bit.
Abdali Lopez in that Visit Mexico green and white truck.
Bill Hines just thrown into the deep end in that number 57. We talked about the fact he's the founder and director for United Fiber and Data. Now he has a swarm of stadium super trucks all around him.
And can you imagine for your first time in one of these trucks on a circuit like this with all these guys around you? You want to talk about being busy inside that truck?
Oh, I mean, he has his hands full. Aaron Bombeck now in his black 3-dimensional truck all over the back of Abdali Lopez in that white, red, and green Visit Mexico truck. Bombeck trying to move forward. He said he needed to be more aggressive. He's being aggressive right now, pushing his way forward, sliding past Abdali Lopez.
And you can see there goes Baumbach with a pretty good shot by Hines, and he's alongside him as they're going into turn 8. I think a couple other guys will sneak through as well.
Scotty Steele looking to get by in his red truck. So Lopez in the green, white, and red. Scotty Steele in the red, trying to get past the black truck of Hines.
And absolutely, totally different visual for us in terms of just watching the roll speed through these trucks. They were tiptoeing. Look at that. Oh, Bill Hines missing that ramp. We know that's a penalty, but as we're looking, Gordon splits him to the inside to hit those ramps.
But he did the right thing.
He did the right thing because you forced that issue there. It wasn't going to be a good result. But those other guys got back by him, so there'd be no penalty. Race would continue on.
Yeah, if he tried to get back, it would have been a problem. Sheldon Creed looks to the inside of Robbie Gordon, side by side. Gordon in his orange Speed Energy Traxxas truck holds the outside through the sweeping turn onto the back straightaway. Can Sheldon Creed do anything in the braking zone?
And I think Robbie's just on board. I think he's just grinning inside every time he's going wheel to wheel with Sheldon Creed. I think he just loves it, and gives him always a little bit of extra.
Paul Tracy leads the field through the turn at the end of the back straightaway, turn number 3. But look, Gordon inside Sheldon Creed. Does he take the position? Yes, he does, at least for now.
He does for now. Now, keep in mind the strategy behind these races. We have the mid-race caution that just brings everybody back together. So, again, you just want to learn what your competitions do. You don't need to worry about this guy right here, Tracy, checking out, because it's all going to come back to you. So, again, you don't want to say, oh, I got to do everything I can to get up there. You're going to have that opportunity with the mid-race caution.
Yeah, you don't want to burn your truck down to do it. You don't want to burn up the brakes. You don't want to burn up those Toyo tires. They are DOT approved. And look at the battle for third. Lopez all over the back of Scotty Steele. And Robbie Gordon in there as well. Sheldon Creed almost landing in the bed of Robbie Gordon's Traxxas truck.
Fantastic on board there with Creed as he was all over Gordon's bumper.
You can just see how the suspensions, the tires just punished over these jumps, these metal ramps. Tracy leading down into turn 1, the second truck in your shot, the 87.
Creed looking
Aaron
down
Baumbach.
the inside. Creed down the inside of Lally. He's got that done. Now he's on the backside of Steele as they're going down Lakeside Boulevard.
Scotty Steele with damage to the front of his truck. That's going to slow him down. It's going to create a lot of aerodynamic drag.
As well as visual. It's got to have a little visual impact there on top of the aerodynamics.
Trying to find his braking point at the end of the straightaway here. Let's see how it plays out. Gordon with a lockup. Lopez
just carrying tons of speed in there and spins it around.
And Lopez comes out the loser. I didn't think that would happen with being on the inside position. I thought he would push Robbie Gordon out. Yeah, Gordon with lockup.
And so here's Lopez. He's going to go to the inside. Now, you would think he'd kind of use Robbie as his extra cushion to slow him down, but he's the one that ends up spinning.
I think maybe he just tightened his hands too much to avoid hitting Gordon. He should have just hit him. He should have just used him on the outside. Sheldon Creed with a problem as well.
And look at there, we saw none of that tricycling in that first race because he didn't have the grip to hook up with these Toyo tires. Now we're starting to see that guy where the guys are lifting that inside wheel as they're putting the power down.
Race number 2, 10 laps, and there will be a caution at the midway point. Aaron Baumbach really beginning to close down on Paul Tracy, and I know Tracy is one of Baumbach's heroes. Followed him a lot when they were both racing open wheel cars and really wanted to emulate him, and right now he's doing a great job really beginning to close down on Tracy.
And talking about Baumbach, I remember after he did his first race with the series in Detroit, good battle there, Steele, Gordon looking down the inside, but Baumbach said he really had to get used to picking up that inside wheel and trusting the car and powering through it and not coming off the gas. It was a whole new learning curve for the type of driving that he's used to through, normal street and road racing.
Yeah, just so different, and the contact involved as well. You got to get used to a little bit of rubbing. We may see that right now at the end of the back straightaway. Gordon in his orange truck inside Creed, and look at Aaron Baumbach inside Paul Tracy. He passes one of his racing heroes, Aaron Baumbach, to the lead in Toronto. That's good stuff. He comes from a long way back.
He sure does. And good braking there. We just see him drop a couple here. Now look at how he's using the handbrake just to help turn the car, pointing around, just pulling back a little bit as he's putting power down. A little bump there with Tracy. He's got the pass.
Aaron Baumbach with the lead. If he could hold on to win, it would be his first Stadium Super Truck win. But Paul Tracy would like another win here at Toronto. He has 2 in Indy cars. Can he win in Stadium Super Trucks? We'll find out. Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas. And if you can't drive one of these Stadium Super Trucks, well, you can certainly drive a Traxxas truck, and a lot of fans got to do that here in Toronto at the Traxxas RC display, and that's what the Stadium Super Trucks are built after, these RC cars. That's what they're modeled after, and I think they're just as tough.
No question. Well, we've seen them done out on track and keep running just like little RC trucks.
But these have 650 horsepower, and Aaron Bombach doing the best job of controlling it right now out in front in his three-dimensional Traxxas truck. Right behind him, Paul Tracy, and then Robbie Gordon. And for Aaron Bombach to have names like Tracy and Gordon back behind him, that is a special moment, regardless the outcome.
No question. And, you know, Tracy's going to be doing everything he can to be all over Bombach. And we saw Gordon interviewed earlier. He's like, yeah, I had to give Tracy a little bit of leeway because he was barreling in there so fast, and I didn't know if he was going to take me out. So, Aaron, I hope you can hear us.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron Bombach now leads through turn one for the first time. He took over the point, the end of the back straightaway on the last lap, and Sheldon Creed, Robbie Gordon still going at it.
And Creed on the outside. I mean, in normal road racing configuration, you don't see that pass done very much, where Creed just rolled Gordon on the outside at turn one.
Gordon looks back, and now Paul Tracy trying to return the favor to Aaron Bombach. Tracy on screen left. Aaron Bombach was leading, but it doesn't last a lap as Paul Tracy takes it back over. Sheldon Creed goes with him. Bombach goes first to third.
So the two Traxxas truck, the blue Traxxas truck of Tracy and the red Traxxas truck with gray, Sheldon Creed, 1 and 2.
And now Robbie Gordon trying to get past Bombach. Puts Bombach on the inside, but now on the outside for the right-hand carousel. Gordon takes the position.
But what a great show how much fun for these drivers. What a blast, but for the fans. There Bombach was leading going into turn three. 3 turns later, he's back and forth. He's not out of the game. It just can shuffle that quickly.
I think it shows, too, the fire that still burns for Paul Tracy as Scotty Steele now works his way by. And I think Aaron Bombach may have a problem. He may have used up a little bit too much of his truck. Maybe the brakes or the tires going away because he is dropping very quickly. Oh, so close up front. Paul Tracy, Sheldon Creed, Robbie Gordon. You could throw the proverbial blanket over them as the competition caution flies.
Fantastic racing. And if you really think, okay, here we're back on board as they run through turn 8. Off to the left there is Bombach. There's Tracy up in front. That's Gordon.
Kind of pushes him to the outside, and then Robbie Gordon gets the jump as well. For Paul Tracy, can he take another win here at Toronto, this time in a Stadium Super Truck? Paul Tracy has the fire burning once again. Competition caution just about over with from here in Toronto as round 11 of the 2014 Speed Energy Formula Off-Road presented by Traxxas. Green flag waves, half a race yet to play out here in Toronto. And Paul Tracy leads the field down to turn 1. Sheldon Creed right behind him in his red and gray Traxxas truck, and Robbie Gordon sitting there, stalking.
But what a great mix if you look at these top 3 guys. You got Tracy with all his IndyCar road racing experience. Then you got the 16-year-old Sheldon Creed, off-road specialist. Then by Robbie Gordon, that's got a little bit of mix of all of that. But what it shows you is anybody that's got the desire and the drive, they can come get in these trucks that Robbie's prepared identically. Whoa, there goes Steele's front end. Well, we should say hood.
Yeah, the
got
hood
out of the way.
Is now gone. Almost went out of the ballpark, but you bring up a very valid point. You can go down to Charlotte. You can test these trucks a little bit, get your feet underneath you, and then show up and race them. And I think Robbie has built a spectacular series in that regard and pretty impressive front wheels off the ground. Now, here's some contact with Abdali Lopez on board with Scotty Steele, and then finally, now it's gone.
We saw that hood was ruffled a little bit earlier, so he gave one more bump there to Lopez, and that did the job of getting rid of it, which I'm sure he wanted to get rid of it because it was definitely hindering his sight as he was going down that back straightaway.
Now in the leads, Sheldon Creed, Robbie Gordon, Paul Tracy back to third, Scotty Steele working his way to fourth, but he's under pressure by Aaron Bombach. Could Bombach have kind of regrouped a little bit under that caution?
Well, like you said, we saw him fall back, 5 spots just within a handful of turns. So did something happen? Did he cook his brake pedal, get a little too much of it, or run those Toyota tires a little too tough? And now has everything kind of resettled and he's coming back up?
I know that he had been experimenting. You see Scotty Steele's hood laying out in the middle of the racetrack. That may not last for long.
Gordon.
A little lockup on Gordon.
Big speed coming
lockup.
in.
Yeah, well, I think there's the answer to our question. It's Aaron Baumbach who goes off at the end of the back straightaway. That truck just not really slowing down. Looked like.
So we just talked about the brake pedal. Maybe it was a brake pedal issue that had him going backwards, and that could be the case there. But he came in there with so much speed. When he dodged to the inside to miss the debris hood, which, by the way, there's no debris flag here. These are trucks.
These just run over it.
They're not eagers. They run over it. You got to love that. But just barreled in there with way too much speed.
Sheldon Creed, 3 to go at the line this time by Robbie Gordon right behind him. This is where Sheldon Creed took his first victory last year, and man, they're fighting hard right behind. Can he win race number 2 this year? He already won race number 1. Gordon to the points.
And again, fantastic racing. These guys always seem to be somewhere together on the racetrack, don't they? But what great experience for Creed to be running against Gordon that just has got a full bag of tricks, we always know.
And he's not intimidated at all. Sheldon Creed not intimidated at all. Inside, Robbie Gordon inside the hood.
And there's
Scotty Steele.
And you can see Robbie just kind of looking over. You see him over, just peering over, like, where are you, Sheldon? Sheldon takes the lead back from Robbie.
A little rubbing down in turn 3 at the exit, and then they're back on it again. And the racing clean. Gordon now back to the inside. A little bit of contact. This is good stuff. Good, hard racing by 2 professionals. One with a lot more experience than the other, but once again, hats off to Sheldon Creed.
Well, and you talk to Sheldon and other people that know him, you know, his is the never give up attitude. And he only's got one speed, 100+%.
Well, and I think we talked about that a little earlier. Not having a win coming into Toronto, he won the first round here, but not having a win probably shows just how aggressive he's been. He's been a little over aggressive in his own words. He threw Long Beach away. So I think he's toned it down maybe a half a notch. Not too much, just half a notch. And what that's brought him is a victory, and he's got the lead right now.
But for a young driver at 16 to even come out and say that, say, hey, I threw that away, that's on me. Yeah. So you know what?
Says a
he's
lot.
Learned. He's filed it away. He won race 1 here. You know, he's about to win race 2. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a big maybe.
He could still get a little over anxious, or sometimes when he knows he's got Gordon, does he get too defensive? You know, does he get too defensive, looking in the mirrors, miss a braking point, get in too deep? I mean, that's part of the cat and mouse game.
Robbie Gordon now to the inside. You talk about cat and mouse. This is moved back and forth. Gordon, we've seen the lockup on the rear before. Maybe a little bit too much rear handbrake. Both of them have a problem.
But what a good job by Sheldon, not trying to take the apex of that corner or come down to the wall, because he saw Robbie had too much speed. But in turn, so did Sheldon. Let's take a look at it again.
You just said he could possibly throw it away. I think he tried to defend, went in deeper than he had. And you're right, he could have made it worse than it was. Kind of no harm, no foul.
Here we're on board. We're on board with Sheldon. He's working the handbrake there, still coming around. Excuse me, not Sheldon. That's Robbie we're on board with.
Creed to the white flag this time. Gordon is not going to be pleased. He's going to try to close that ground back up. He wants to win here. He certainly doesn't want to give Sheldon Creed 2 wins in 2 events this year at Toronto. You see Scotty Steele running third without the hood on the front of his Traxxas truck, and Sheldon Creed through turn 1. Robbie Gordon right behind. Can Gordon do anything in the braking zone? Didn't work out well last time.
No, but here's the point. He's close enough right now, so he's just going to tuck up right behind Sheldon and then pop out. He's already popped out, said, I'm coming, Sheldon.
He got a great run on Sheldon Creed. He actually had to slow up a little bit, and he's got the lead if he could just pull over in front of him and block his access. But no, he's got to run low, and that allows Creed to come back.
Look at Creed. Creed just under braking took the inside lane away from Robbie. I was waiting for some tire smoke to come up there.
I was too.
And then Creed just said, hey, I'm taking the inside away from you.
Absolutely impressive. Gordon to the inside, tries to get it done. Can't do it now. He's running out of corners. Just a few left here in Toronto. Will he use the front bumper right on the back of Sheldon Creed? Heavy braking into the hard right-hand corner at the end of this kink.
This is the spot. He's got to really get it done right now, because after this, they roll into the ramps. Unless he can take, there it is.
And Creed defensive takes it away. Can Robbie Gordon do the over-under? Can he cut back underneath him? He does, but now he's on the outside.
So he's got to roll that. Creed has it. Now they're going to hit the ramps. This is going to be tough. Robbie's going to have to just get side by side with him on a ramp to make this work.
Robbie Gordon running out of time, running out of racetrack. 2 jumps to go on the back bumper of Sheldon Creed. Over ramp number 1, ramp number 2. Checker flag waves. Sheldon Creed makes it 2 for 2 in Toronto.
Wow. Backing up his win from 2013 here. He's got 3 of them.
Yeah. He is undefeated in the last 3 races here in Toronto. Look at this. This was the last lap down into turn 3 at the end of the long back straightaway.
Fantastic move for Sheldon just to take that inside lane of rain. So here's Sheldon. Look, he's got big speed. Now at this point, I'm waiting for tire smoke from both of them. We don't see it. There's Sheldon crisscrossing across the bow of Robbie, taking that corner away, taking that inside line away.
And he did take it away, and that speaks to the maturity of that young man, Sheldon Creed, 2 for 2 in 2014 at Toronto. He came in winless on the season. He walks away with 2 trophies. We'll be back. Speed Energy Formula Off-Road was brought to you by Traxxas, the fastest name in radio control. And by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And the driver who performed this weekend certainly was Sheldon Creed, the 16-year-old from Alpine, California. Makes it 2 for 2 here in Toronto. Very impressive in both the wet conditions and the dry.
And then we see that number highlighted there. That's Robbie Gordon leading the championship. But the next guy to give a great shout out to, Scotty Steele. 2 podiums, 2 third spots.
And Aaron Baumbach, a great run in the early going. Some type of a brake problem. He finishes back in 6th. But great racing all around the racetrack today. And that is what you expect from these Speed Energy Formula Off-Road events. Let's go down to Sheldon Creed with Jake Query.
For the second time in as many races in Toronto, Sheldon Creed has taken the checkered flag. And this one, young man, I got to tell you, you had to work for that one. That was back and forth. Take me through those last few laps with Robbie Gordon.
It was a pretty gnarly battle. Like, his truck was way faster down the back stretch because I landed on him early in the race and popped my hood up. So he definitely had a good run. And that last lap, he got a run, and then he braked way early, and I just outbraked him. And I sucked in front of him. I was like, nope. And then I thought he was going to try to like do some other moves, but I just like tried to go inside, and I don't know, I felt him bumping me the whole time. It was fun.
Let's get Robbie Gordon in here as well, because that was, you want to talk about exciting. These 2 guys congratulating each other.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a show. You told me you guys were going to steal the show this weekend, and I think those last few laps did just that.
The 2 of us were on top of each other pretty much from halfway on. The whole time, I think we passed each other maybe 1 time a lap. I passed him over there. He got back by me. It was good. He did a great job. The only way I was going to get by him was to wreck him, and I didn't want to do him like that. So I tried to give him the right side just a little bit over there, and I think it was turn 4 or 5. Turn 5, I tried to get inside of him. I clipped him a little bit. I just didn't knock him sideways enough. I didn't want to hit him in the back. I want to hit him in the side.
You know what's interesting is the balance on these trucks, because as you're taking those trucks through and you're trying to get him loose, but his truck just maintains the balance the whole time.
He's an excellent driver too. The one time both of us went down into turn 3, and I think both of us saw God, because I was headed backwards into the corner and he was headed backwards too. He just got it straightened out a little bit before I did, but that was an awesome race. Congrats, Sheldon, good job, and we'll be back to do more in Sand Sports Show here in a couple weeks.
Congratulations, heck of a run for both of you.
Thank you.
Sheldon Creed wins again in Toronto. Robbie Gordon finishes 2nd.
Yes, indeed, they will head from Toronto to the West Coast for a California swing. Robbie Gordon will go to the West Coast with the points lead. 2 victories for Sheldon Creed, though, helps him move up in the points, so he's beginning to close down. He just needs a couple more victories, and he'll be right there. Let's hear from our 3rd place finisher, Scotty Steele.
A 2nd race and a 2nd podium for Scotty Steele here in the Speed Energy Formula Off-Road, and once again, same result as yesterday. A lot of action in front of you, but man, I'll tell you what, you obviously had your truck pretty dialed in there. Take me through the run.
I was able to adjust the sway bar from yesterday, and it was able to actually help me today too. But the only problem I had today was that at the beginning of the race, I got into the back of Abdali, and the whole hood came up and blocked my vision going down the front straightaway.
It's part of the fun of it, right?
The part of the fun. No, can't see, no fun.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, podium will let you celebrate. Enjoy it.
All right, thank you.
2nd straight race, 2nd straight podium for Scotty Steele.
Great racing this weekend from Toronto. What's your takeaway, Robbie?
Well, fantastic weekend for Creed, 2 wins, and then Scotty Steele, 2 podiums and 3rd run. Those guys are going to be out on the streets of Toronto tonight celebrating.
Yeah, they should be. That is for certain. For Robbie Buell, Jake Query, thanks for joining us for Speed Energy Formula Off-Road, brought to you by Traxxas on NBC SN.